Okay, so 100% cotton with your white pigment ink. And if you haven't watched any of my other videos, and this is the first one you've come across where I'm doing this kind of cloud technique, I always mention it. My pad right here is really super dry. If you have a white pigment ink pad, yours could be super wet. In fact, it probably is. I use my white ink a lot, okay? A lot of people do not use their white pigment inks a lot. So you can have a 10-year-old pad that's been sitting around and it's sloppy wet, and it makes this a little bit more of a precarious type of process right here if you use too much at any given time. I can go like that, and it's a very light application of ink, but if you're doing it with a very wet pigment ink, it's kind of this almost like applying like paint, like a sloppy, wet paint onto your card. If that's the case, when you ink it up, really blot it off a lot, okay? And you have to kind of see how much ink is on there, so maybe blot it off on a dark piece of, some scratch paper or something like that, okay? I was just doing this experiment here, so I was, blotting it off on the back here, but get it to the right consistency where when you do a few taps, you can barely see anything, and that looks like a light little vapor of mist, doesn't it? So really work your cotton ball and get it the right consistency, okay? The right consistency is key for the ease in application because you don't have to blend anything in so much. It's just, you hardly get any amount applied to begin with. So it's not like you're getting this big blob of ink that you have to kind of, mix in there to get it, the right consistency. All right, so we have that. Remember, this angel's going to be coming out of the cloud, so I'm just kind of rotating this mask around. You can use different parts of you don't have to use the same arc right here, but I think I can get a little bit more mileage out of this, so we'll just keep using it like so. Okay. You can add a little bit more, okay, in some areas where there's a little bit more light reflecting off of the cloud. Like that. See, that one's a little bit more over here, less over here. Okay, now let's move it around this way. I don't know, you can just do it at whatever type of angle you want, okay? And let's see what comes about. I am getting, a couple little splotches here and there, but I just go right back over it. I'm getting my finger right here, my thumb's getting on there a little bit. That's what it was. Okay, let me re-angle my thumb. Okay, but see, I keep adding these little intermediate areas in here, like that. Now this area in here, it looks like it's opening up into, kind of like the night sky or something like that. So that whole area is going to have to be illuminated to, to some extent. So this, when you work real dry like this, it's really fast, okay? So you go like this, we're working a cloud. How long does this really take? There's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, okay? So, that's a pretty significant cloud, right? It takes 10 seconds. We'll work on it a little bit more, but, just in general, when you're working kind of a drier applicator, dry kind of cotton ball in this case, it doesn't take a whole lot of time. Okay, now we have all these areas like in here, so that looks, I don't know, it's like scallops, looks like it could be like a close-up of a fish's scales or something like that, or dragon scales or something. So what this does right here is after you get kind of your edges established right there, you want them fairly firm, okay? You want to be able to see them. But then what you do is you come in with your applicator, your cotton ball, and then you go above, that line, okay? But also you kind of develop it back a little bit too, okay? So watch this right here. See this? I'm adding this other little kind of freeform cloud into this area right here, or it might just represent you're just extending this cloud down this way, okay? But make it kind of billowy, so what you do is you kind of add a little bit of irregular kind of blobs of, ink, paint-like ink, okay? This feels like working with pigment inks, it's more like you're working with paint, okay? So sometimes when I say, hey, it's easy, just kind of make things a little bit more irregular. Sometimes you're fighting against your kind of natural inclination to develop pattern, as opposed to something a little bit more random. Okay, so working that. Now what you'll find is when you're applying this, you'll think, wasn't that whiter before? Just like a minute ago. When it starts to dry and set up, it kind of becomes a little bit, darker. I don't know, as pigment inks set up, especially if you've applied them over a darker background, be it inks or just the color of the paper, it tends to dry dark, okay? All right, let's fill in this space in here now. Okay, with some ink. All right. So our angel will be coming out of the, skies and kind of a dramatic fashion, hopefully. Yeah, I think that'll do. Kind of an extreme cloud technique scenario here. It's like the most clouds I've ever added on any card so far. All right, so let's go with our light beam creating materials here. 2 pieces of paper, okay? Now start off with, let's see, this angel's going to be right here. I'm going to draw this little white dot right in there. Okay, it's just this really tiny one, so that's going to be my reference point. Okay, my vanishing point, my reference vanishing point. Let me see if you can see that. See that one right there? Yeah, we want it subtle. We want it this huge kind of thing. All right, maybe you can also have just light coming from from behind the entire clouds coming down this way. But I think I'm going to have this one. I think I'm going to have it emanating kind of in all directions. Okay, so I just kind of go like that, and then I have the size of beams is kind of up to you, but I would have kind of a variety of sizes of beams coming out from that point. Okay, so might be time for a new cotton ball. Like I said, one cotton ball sometimes for certain scenes. I could use it, I don't know, for 4 or 5 scenes, but this one's been in extreme usage. Okay, so there's your beam. All right, so every time you do it, kind of vary your beam kind of size too. I might not go all the way to the dot either. I might, kind of fade it out around there. Okay, so I'm going a little bit more narrow on this one right here. And see this, you can do this too. You can kind of add the beam like that. And I went to about right here, but let's go down here and kind of continue it on. Okay, so it's a little bit like a broken beam, but that means like there's something in the way, like maybe the angel's arms or something like that, or whatever. It doesn't, it doesn't have to be kind of an exact type of thing. Okay, so see that right there? I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but it just kind of oscillates a little bit lighter, darker, lighter like that. Okay, so it really lets us off the hook. You don't have to do things perfectly even. It looks better if it's not, in my opinion. Right? So see, it's wide, but it's kind of, broken there a little bit, dissipating. Okay, let's take a look. Like some heavenly light coming down, right? Now, watch this too. here's what's really fun too. You can kind of create an interaction between that light beam and your clouds like this, okay? So where your beam comes down and crosses a cloud, you can kind of, let's say that the beam is now hitting the cloud or penetrating it. You know, it's going through some of the cloud, okay? So what you do is you kind of illuminate the cloud a little bit lighter in the area of contact, okay? Like that. See that? How it's kind of illuminating that a little bit more? Doesn't it look kind of, I don't know, interesting? There's more kind of an interactive type of a representation when you do that. Okay. It says that, you know, that light is affecting what it's hitting or going through. Okay. Pigment ink here. I can round this cloud out a little bit more. You can add more billows. If you want to add in, you know, more clouds, you can always do that at this point too. You can have some clouds kind of looking like they're a little bit more kind of in front of the beam too. They don't have to be all behind the beams, okay? You can have these layers working in there, so you can kind of go like this, and you know, I can add this in here and go right over the beam like so, okay? I'm not working with dark inks, so it just looks like that, okay? But you can kind of break into things and make things look a little bit more dimensional too. That's what's really fun about this. It's just, you can just keep kind of building things, you know. I don't know. I don't feel like it overworks anything either. Okay, so this right here. The more you add in there, kind of the more kind of faceted a cloud can become. Okay, and it could just be the subtle little extra little addition in here, like this. Okay, you just go like that. And you get that extra little bit there. So, you know, can you come in here? I don't know, maybe. Let's see, let's add it right into the light. It just has to be a little bit lighter than the background for it to show up, okay? See that little bit in there? So if it starts to look too flat, you just come in back into it and just add another couple forms like this, okay? And it might just be a few little taps of some ink like that, and you got this one in there. So it's like you just keep building it up however high you want, or however thick you want, and you give things a little bit more range. I guess you can overdo it, but I don't know. It's you have to do quite a bit for it. I don't know. I think for it to not look good. Now, if you're working with a, you know, again, be careful. It's, you know, it's not kind of where you put it, but sometimes the amount of ink that you're laying down at any given time. Let's make a couple of these beams a little bit stronger here now. Okay, let's have a little bit of time to set up, okay? So we kind of diffused, and you can kind of go in and sharpen up again. A little bit more ink, you know? It's like, it's not like a you know, step from kind of A to Z or something like that, you know, where you do this, then you add this, and then add this, and you can't go back, you know, and do, you know, a little more of something else in there. All right. Will this angel stamp out in here? I've been pleasantly surprised with some of the results I've had. I just don't know what I'm going to get. Okay, so on this one right here, my own stamps, which are highly detailed, stamped onto right over the top of my, you know, pigment ink application's just fine. Okay, I think it looks pretty decent. Now this one right here, there's tons of detail in this. Okay, it's in an old, like a 19th century engraving. Okay. And marks of distinction, they use pretty good rubber. I have no idea what color this one is. It's like a yellow rubber or something like that. The rubber is still in pretty good shape though, so I'm assuming it's 100% rubber, you know, as opposed to some kind of blend. Okay, let's see here. Alright, I'm going to wipe off some of this edge. I don't know if I'm wiping off enough or whatever, but I'm kind of diffusing the edge here a little bit, in not everywhere, okay? I want a sharp image, for the most part, on most of it, okay? But if I wipe off some of it, maybe it'll stamp out a little bit lighter, so that it appears as though light is shining on the figure, okay? Like I said, I don't want to remove too much. I'm not working with the stamp positioner here where I can just stamp it out, and if I don't like it, then I can just ink it up again and go, again here. These are one of those 1-inch blocks too. These stamps right here were so beautifully made on these big, thick blocks. I never used a 1-inch block for Stampscapes, but this is not something that I'm going to unmount. All right, not too bad. And see, it came out a little bit lighter in some areas, okay? All right, now, it's not as dark as maybe I would have wanted in some areas, though, but maybe we can utilize that. This is wet right now. Ow. Let me just go ahead and try it. I'm going to... Now, this isn't going to match the background, but we'll try to blend this in later. Okay, so on the image itself, there's areas that are lighter than others, right? The hair, wings like that. Now, I'm not going to fill in. I'm not just going to color in everything all white that's white on the image, but that's kind of my general area. What I'll do is I'll try to add a little bit of that into it. Okay, it's quite a bit whiter though, okay? So I'll add some kind of lighter areas and then I'll just kind of taper it off with some dots. Okay, it's going to look really strange and I hope I'm not adding it where I shouldn't, like it's going to be too much because I can't really remove this. I think I might be able to kind of blend that out with some additional white paint too. I might be able to kind of paint these areas. Okay, put some on the hair, like so. This is really standing out because this is a lot whiter than the background, okay? It'll never look good if I just add a little bit to it, so it's going to have to be kind of this general type of highlighting that's applied in more areas than one. I was never good at drapery here, but yeah, it's kind of like drapery was always like a tough kind of assignment in school, painting classes and stuff like that. How do you draw like fabric? All right, let's see. Let me put this paper down here so I can put my hand right here. As you start doing this, I think, I don't know, it's like I start to see a little bit more. Oh, hey, look at this Miaosun pen. I can kind of get a thinner line, too. I'm just kind of reiterating what's on there a little bit. It'll definitely have to be blended in a little bit more, though. But you can trust the artists. I'm not saying me. The whoever the artist was that drew this, and their lighting convention that's going on in there. So it's starting to look a little bit better, right? See, it's it looked weird, you know, that just, you know, the area that I first added it to, but then you start adding it to other areas and it, you know, it becomes kind of more of a consistent type of lighting statement. Okay, here it is on the arm. I find that the that hand is kind of important there, so go like that. I don't know if I did a good job on that one, but okay. Not bad, but we need to bring that white into other areas, that degree of kind of lightness. All right, so let's start adding some of that lightness on some of these clouds here, okay? Yeah, there's a lot of clouds in there, I'll tell you that much. It's looking pretty dimensional. All right, now what I see right here, I think that looks pretty good, but I find that the angel looks, it almost looks like it's cut out and put onto the scene, don't you? I don't feel like it's a part of the surroundings. Maybe it's because there's no black in the rest of it too. I can apply some of that too. Let me try some of that. Let me just grab some Versafine black that I stamped the angel in. I think that's it. Okay, let's do this right here. Let's go with some new masks. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be masking off the cloud portion of it and getting some, you know, ink behind those billows, and you know, with a little bit of black ink. Let me try this right now. I don't remember using black on a cotton ball before. Let me see if this even works. Okay. I think I've always done it with paper towel, right? I don't know. Those of you who have been watching the videos, I don't even remember. Okay. I'm kind of eradicating some of my beams there, but I can always go and add it back in there. Hey, that cotton ball works really good for this right here. Look at this right here. You can mask off your edge of your cloud and add it in. Okay, I don't want it to look too. I want it just to look like nice and heavy. I don't want it to look ominous or anything like that. So I'm not going to add too much, but I think it's kind of adding a nice kind of a contrast and, you know, bringing a little bit of the surrounding hue into the mix. Okay, it's creating a little bit more of a relationship between the angel and the angel's surroundings. Okay, by adding that same hue in there. That's what I usually do when I'm doing like dye-based ink colors. Okay, right, I added too much right there. So you can always just add, you know, some white pigment ink back into that too. All right, let me try to blend that out. Oh, here's what I do too. Let's go with some of this in the four corners as well. Unless you have a beam going right there, then maybe not. But let's go right here. Let's go with this corner right here, or, you know, most of the corners, if I can. Unless the corner is like right next to the light, maybe not. I don't know. So let's go like this, and what this does is it kind of creates a vignette. Even if you don't do it around the entire perimeter, you can do it in some areas like this. Okay. And what that does is it kind of directs the viewer's eye a little bit more towards the center because the entire composition is a little bit more contained. Love the black ink on the cotton ball. Okay, let's add more white. Okay, now I'm going to add this white right over some of that angel so that, you know, we get some of that white light. See, but that angel not being completely dry, it's like I might be getting some black ink all over this. I might be picking up some of that black ink on the cotton ball. Okay, in fact it is. So it's like I'm spreading some of that black ink into the clouds by, kind of doing that. So I have to be careful about that. But see, I've added a little bit of that white down in here. Okay. See where her knee is kind of disappearing like that? His or her, I'm not sure. Okay, so, and let's add it right back in here. Maybe I'll add it in a couple areas where there's not too much black ink on the image. Okay. So I'm just diffusing. What happens is it kind of diffuses the image a little bit, which is what I'm going after. Okay. That. See, it's like on the back side of the angel like that. It puts light into the angel. I think it can really benefit from. You don't want to do it uniform over the whole thing, just like we didn't want, complete uniformity in the clouds either. Okay, putting some right over the shoulder, like that. A little bit onto the wing. Okay. All right. I'm getting a little bit of ink there, so let's go with a little bit more of an exact type of tool in the form of a cotton swab, because I can hit a kind of a narrower little area like that. Would have thought I wouldn't call this like a precision instrument by any means, but who would have thought of a Q-tip as, kind of something a little bit more precise of anything. Okay, so see, it kind of puts that angel in the light. See, I've kind of diffused it. It looked like this, right over here, but I've kind of brought that in there. So you've brought, that light into it. Same thing with back here. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty good. Let's bring a little bit more light around them. Okay. Now see, I'm really blobbing out that area right there because, again, that black ink is still wet. So, okay, kind of adding a little bit more light right behind them. That angel, like that. Okay, now, on this thing too, maybe we can use this, like I said, remember where kind of a beam hits a cloud or kind of goes above it, then you can go in here like this and add little highlights to it. So we've added some highlights using that white paint pen, but you can go in and add some little, more definitive areas like this. It's really fun to do. You just, follow your beam and kind of illuminate that area a little bit more. Or see these little billows on top of my clouds like this? You can just kind of add a little bit more like this and tap it around like so. Okay. Again, don't add, a big blobby mark or something like that. And just make sure you have the right consistency on here. My pad, again, is very, very dry. But if it's really wet, dab it off quite a bit before you go onto your scene. You might have to dab it off for quite a while if you've taken up way too much ink. Okay. All right. Looking a little bit better in terms of incorporating our angel into the scene. We've kind of put them in, kind of immersed in a little bit of light. Yeah. Always hoping for that I'm not stamping these word stamps at an angle. But so far, reasonably good. Okay, yeah, actually that looks pretty good. It looks pretty nice right there, I think. It kind of needed that though, don't you think? It needed some, I don't know, copy or something like that, with the absence of kind of some other types of imagery in here. I mean, this is a one stamp scene, you know, otherwise. Not that you can't have that, but whenever I'm trying to learn a new technique, I'm kind of always moving in the direction of kind of the extremes. So with this cloud, cloud on a dark blue, or I don't know, it could be dark anything, dark paper technique. Filling up a whole piece like this is it seems like the natural kind of progression, you know, that I tend to run into a lot with me. Okay, so covering up. I don't mind if this gets on some of that wing. I just don't want it on the face too much. Okay, so directional splattering. I'm probably about 8 inches away from my surface. Maybe 6 to. See that right there? It's kind of a good tech, you know. See that those splatters in front of the angel and around it. It's kind of a good combination there, you know, because it kind of puts the angel into the scene, the scenario a little bit more again. Okay, so I'll mask off the face again like this, and I'll come down, maybe cover up some of the body like that. Sometimes I never know which way the splatters are going to go, so sometimes I'm doing it like this, and it's going this way. I don't know why. Just the nature of the, I don't know, toothbrush kind of angle, I guess. Bristles, the nature of the bristles, I should say. Okay, so like that. I don't want it. I don't want it over that. That piece on Earth there. So I'll just do this right here. I'm kind of adding a little bit more around the angel, so it looks like it's kind of emanating from there, you know, the light. And then, kind of as it goes a little bit farther, where I'm just kind of trying to splatter a little bit less. So a little bit more, a little bit less. Okay. Let's take a closer look. Let's check our splatter application right there. Look at that. Kind of, it's like boom. Like that. Oh, let's add a little bit more around here. I'm just kind of letting go of like one or two bristles at a time. Okay. Okay, so I'm putting all these little beads, and I'll put some little beads, smaller beads of glue next to my angel. Okay, so let me see if I can show you on camera where you can see those little beads of glue. Okay, we can't really see them at all like that, but let me see. See, okay, can you see them right there? I don't know if I can show you right. Yeah, you can. I don't know. You can see a little bit. It's very distinct to me sitting right here. When I go like this, when I do it vertical, I can really see those old beads. Okay, so we have our crystal rhinestones. Some of these I haven't even opened yet, so these little compartments are hard to open. And I'm usually using this little small one right here, this little gem picker. I'm not even sure if it'll pick up these gigantic ones here. Okay, it does. This side right here is kind of more for larger pieces, but let's go large. I mean, I'm hardly ever using these really large ones, so. Okay. You can really see that glistening there, can't you? See like that? It's like going fishing, you know, in this compartment right here for crystals. Okay, I think those three. I think these three are the same size, and these three are the same size. All right, this picker right here is like so wide. It's almost like I lay it down there. I'm picking it off, and it's pulling it off. So, all right. So we got four. Let's switch up here and let's move up to some smaller ones here. I'm guessing there's a couple different sizes of them on this side. So as it moves closer to the angel, I'll just switch sizes. It sure does add kind of a dynamic touch to the piece, though. Hopefully you can see those things that are being added on there. Here, let me try to zoom in. When I zoom in on these videos, sometimes I forget to zoom out, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I was working off camera a lot. Okay, let's see. Try to find, there's another drop of glue there. Oh, I guess there's only one more right over here. Let's go medium again. All right. Let me make sure that I got them all. I think there's one more right there. Not that you have to apply a rhinestone to every drop if you decide you don't want to. All right, looking, scanning. I think it's pretty even there. All right, let's see. See these right here? See, it's right next to the angel too. It kind of brings the piece to life in a way, doesn't it? You know, those little things like twinkling like that. I don't know if it had to have it, but those little things sure are fun like that. I can even have done something where it's like, I don't have it out here, but kind of we focus it around the hand where, the the gems are coming out, the crystals are coming out like that. But I don't know. We can mount this on some other types of papers too. I think it would be good on, have something else like in between the silver, and then we can put that around there. But wouldn't that be kind of dynamic too, to have that reflective silver kind of matting around there? So you can go like, I don't know, with like a white border like this, and then on silver. And then you can go with another gold out there if you want to, but look at that, what that silver does, and it really brings out the little crystals like that. So, I don't know. So anyways, a fun piece, and this is, again, for my little bio swap. Playing around with, some imagery that I like. One of my images from my own private collection, again, from Marks of Distinction. So, anyway, can't wait to format this into a card. And anyway, fun stuff. An extreme version of the clouds in terms of the application of that white on dark technique. Always angle your clouds around the direction in which the light is coming from. If the light is coming from below a cloud, then bottom light a cloud. Clouds over here are side lit, right? Clouds over in here are bottom lit. All you have to do is just change the angle of your mask, to the direction that light is coming from, and just use the same technique. Go in there and blend it out again a little bit more. I can still, at this point in time, if I want, I should have added more white over here, then you can do it. Just mask it off there again and apply it down there like that. there's hardly a point of no return in doing this type of application. The inks don't dry so fast that you can't manipulate it. Okay, so anyways, I hope you enjoyed the card. And thanks as always for tuning into the channel.